Hello, Verna here. Today, I would like to talk about children in the worship service. Do we leave our children with us in the worship service? Do we send them to junior church? Those are actually very theological questions and very, very important. So, you know me, I'm always saying we are to train a child in the way they should go. Training is active and training is very ongoing. You've got many, many years in which to impart what you need to, what God has called you to do. So let's think of Sunday morning. When I think of Sunday morning, the first thing that pops in my head when I think of children is Sunday school. So let's look at Sunday school for a minute. I love Sunday school. I love it. I teach an adult women's Bible class, and I love it. And obviously why the children, the women are with me, the children are downstairs. I love Sunday school. So don't mistake what I'm about to say. I love Sunday school, but it is not commanded in Scripture. I do think it's important. It's part of the church supporting the family who is training their children, but it's not commanded in Scripture. What is commanded in Scripture? The worship service, the gathering of the saints on Sunday to worship the triune God. That is what is commanded. So when I look at Sunday morning, what I normally see from most people is they come to Sunday school, they bring their child to Sunday school, then we move into church, and as soon as a few announcements and a hymn sung, they exit their children to junior church. I think that is a grave, grave misjustice. I don't know if misjustice is the right word, but it's not a good thing. And here's why. We're just taking them out of the one thing that is commanded and put them in something that isn't. We've taught them, see this? God's commanded it, but it's not that important. Go play with Power Rangers. It's not good. And even if they're going to junior church, instead of nursery where they, in junior church, they'll watch a video or something that has a Bible story. No, we're still teaching them that the worship service isn't important. And we're doing it actively by the choices we're making by sending them out. Children need to stay in worship. What is the worship service? It's the gathering of the family of God to worship God collectively together. Well, a family. I don't care if you're 0 or 302. Whatever your age, you should be in the worship service because that's what we're commanded to do. Now, let's take a look at the worship service. It's not exactly kid-friendly, especially if your church is doing it right. It doesn't have to be. Again, why are we there? We're there to worship the triune God, not to make it kid-friendly, not even to make it, visitor-friendly or adult-friendly or we all get happy, warm fuzzies. We're there to worship. So will your child be bored? I hear a lot of parents say, well, they're bored. Yep. And that's okay. We've gotten this notion that children can never be bored. They will be slightly bored. There will be things that go over our head. But you're training. And all these pieces that they're seeing as children and taking in as children will come together as they grow older. As you stand up and you give them the hymnal and you have them sing along the best they can. As you point in Scripture where the pastor is reading from. Those are all parts of training. And if they're leaving the room, where's the training? It just isn't there. So our focus during that service is to have all ages together, but focused on Christ. So will they be bored? Yeah. Will you find times where you just are like, I wanted to listen to the sermon, but I couldn't because I was too busy taking care of my squirmy, 3-year-old? Yep. That's going to happen sometimes. While training, there's going to be some squirming. But does that mean it was a bad day of worship? No. You have taken the gift that God has given you, the blessing of this child, and you are doing what He's commanded you to do. Worship was wonderful. And so that's just something that parents need to acknowledge. There's going to be days you hear the sermon and days you only hear parts of it, but you are doing what God called you to do. Now, you might be saying to me, but Verna, what about the single moms or the moms coming without, their husband doesn't come and they come? Can't we just let them relax and listen to the sermon? Well, we can, but that's not what Scripture calls for. Scripture calls for them as well to be obedient in worshiping and bringing their children to worship. So instead of saying, welcome, here's the nursery, or welcome, here's junior church, let's take your children away from you, let's do what a family would do, which is gather together and help one another. In our church, when we have a baptism, there's a point where my husband has everyone stand up, and the church there pledges, the church family pledges to assist that parent assist that family in training their children in the way they should go. Well, this is a case where the pledge comes in. If you know of a woman who's coming without her husband, or say she normally does, but her husband's sick that week, and she walks in with her 2 or 3 children, well, invite her to sit with you. Invite her to sit with you. Instead of taking her children away, help her with her children. So say she's sitting there, she has 3 children, 2 of them are doing well and 1 is fussy. Well, then she can get up and walk out with that 1 and come back, and those other 2 can sit with you. That is a family helping a family, and that is what we are called to do. It is family worship, a family gathering. So, am I a big fan of children's church? Nope. I actually think it's detrimental. I want to be in a church where I hear the baby cry once in a while. It's a beautiful sound, actually. It means the church is growing. I want to be in a church where the parents have Christ as a priority and are taking their child out and bringing them back in when they need to. I want to be in a church that makes Christ the priority, not programs, not, making everything friendly for this group or that group or this group, but puts Christ first. So, my vote would be, of course, it's your own decision, would be let the children stay in church. Train a child in the way they should go. So when they will older, they will not depart from it. So I hope I gave you something to think about, and I look forward to popping it again. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.